So welcome everyone for another World Cup game. This is round 3 and we're gonna have today Philippines Unicorn player Shiba Chicken playing against France Phoenix player Da Sensei. I'll go very quickly through the deck list. Unicorn is on Shiro Shinjo, Phoenix Splash. He's playing the Keeper of Water role. We see Border Fortress, Vassal Fields Meditation, Pilgrimage and along the River of Gold. On the Dynasty side, Border Raider Farseer. Okay, we see the Farseer. There probably will be a few Cloud Mines. No, none of them. So he has the Shooks, but not really using them for their keywords. Yeah, sorry, he plays against the Waves very likely. No, not even against the Waves. Okay, that's interesting. Shono, Chagatai, Altansanai. 3 Shono and 3 Chagatai, 3 Altansanai, 3 Arena. That's an expensive Dynasty side. 1 Gunbai, the 3 Curve Blade, 3 Finger of Jade, 3 Ring of Binding, so you expect to keep his characters in play. 3 Spyglasses, 3 Talisman, 2 Pacifisms, that's interesting. 3 Defend Your Honor, the restricted card is Charge, and the splash is the 2 Pacifism and the 3 Clarity of Purpose. We have only 2 cavalry reserves, but we have 3 Speak to the Hurt and 3 I Am Ready. Interesting that we see no Against the Waves and no Cloud Domain, given that he's Phoenix Splash and he has a few Shiganjas. On the Phoenix side, we have a pretty traditional Phoenix deck. It's a Seeker of Void Kyudenizawa, Splashing Dragon. Still on Tsuki, 3 Adepts. There's 3 Atsuko also, Taraka is the restricted. 3 Naive Students. What else? We have the Assassination on the 2 Bonsai, a single Censure. So 1 cancel, 1 consume only. Splash is 3 Let Go, 2 Wonder, 2 Tattooed Wonder. We have a cheeky one of Georgian Curse, and we have 2 Pass of Man for resources. And then the rest seems pretty. We have the 3 Nino, so that's something to take care about if you're playing as Unicorn player. So what's happening again? Unicorn has been first player playing a Border Rider 1 Fate and then Pass, I guess. Yeah, and Phoenix has answered with a Prodigy 2 Fate. So I think you're happy to have a Prodigy 2 Fate here, especially because your opponent is not playing unless playing, so it's not risky at all. Not sure you want to play the Dreamer. Yeah, maybe you want to be able to defend and take the Water Ring in a second conflict. So that sounds good. Leaves you at 2 Fate though. But maybe you're better relying on the Dreamer to get your Water Ring rather than hoping to have and Against the Waves to stun your Prodigy and then be able to go water after defending the first time. Especially now if you defend with the Prodigy and you go water with the Dreamer, you're gonna stun your Prodigy the first time, and like the Phoenix player here already have like 4 conflicts just on board with those 2 characters if you manage to do things properly. While the Unicorn player is playing Shiro Shinjo, so from what I've seen, this stronghold is being played 2 different ways. Either you play it more or less the same way than HMT, like you're aggressive, but you will obviously not be as efficient as HMT aggressively. But you use your fate to compensate, your additional fate to compensate that the Unicorn tends to exhaust over time. The other way to play it is to play like super defensively, and you just like pile up fate and build an immense board that your opponent absolutely cannot handle. And I guarantee prefer the second way to play it, but it seems it's not really the choice that has been made by the current player. We see a fine cannon on the Prodigy of the Waves during a conflict that Shameful was firing, so that's kind of fortunate for the Unicorn player here to find Shameful, because no Shameful is going to honor that Prodigy and dishonor probably Shono, I would say. You're a bit unhappy to dishonor Shono because his pride isn't going to kick if he loses, but like it's 1 more skill, so it's probably better this way. And we see another charge, so that's already 2 charge for the Unicorn player. And Phoenix can prevent the break there if he has a Storm. That would be absolutely huge. But it's possible, actually very, no, not even Storm, because like then Shono is just going to trigger its ability. We see the 1 of Assassination, that's really good, really, really good. That's -3 strength in the conflict. So now Unicorn isn't breaking anymore. you will have to invest more cards or use Shono's ability, obviously. I think as Phoenix, you want to defend that Shameful as much as possible so that you keep your Tadaka on board for next turn. But you also would like to try to keep some Fate to put on that Tadaka, not expend everything. So yeah, Shono boosting all alliance stats. I think if you have a Stormbearer's Phoenix, you play it just to avoid the break and Chagatai standing. What's the Dreamer on? Water, likely? Yeah, Dreamer is on water, so even if you go water political, then Chagatai cannot defend that conflict. Cloud Domain. Okay, that's really good, because now you don't really care too... Well, you're still losing Taraga, but it's not as bad if it breaks, because, like... And you've expended all your fate, so you don't have too much to put on Taraga. I like that play from the Phoenix player. It makes sense. I should not get honored back, though. But he's bowed, so I think you're fine. And no, as Phoenix, you answer that. You just go free... You go political, water, or military if you have the Ninos. But because this Prodigy has a katana, you probably go political. Political water there, Scooter Province. Try to get a break for cheap if you can. If you have a Nino, for example, that's good. You stun your Prodigy, then you go military with your Prodigy, and you even have the ability to defend a conflict or to stand him for the favor afterwards. So I would say Phoenix is in a pretty good position there, especially if he can take a break. Finding Vessel Fields here is really good because you have literally no fate in bank, so no effect for it's a blank province. And there we see an ornate fan. Okay, if he takes the break, that's fine. I don't like it because this character is leaving play at the end of the turn, and that fan could have go on the Prodigy. Like the value of the fan on the Prodigy would have been much, much better. But it allows him to play a passive man, so that's good. I know the Prodigy stands, and Prodigy is going to take another break, going military. We see a Wayfinder, so you're probably gonna have to, well, have to not necessarily, but depending on the ring, you might want to defend that. If he goes Earth, for example, I think you defend that. And then you stun your Prodigy with the ability. Because he did stun him. Oh, okay, he finds Kurimori, so yeah, that's a really good defense, because like you really don't want that to break. You want to force Unicorn to come there again and again, or to be forced to go on another province. Because you can swap Kurimori from military to political, which makes it super awkward for Unicorn to attack him. Which means he's going to get forced to go into the other. Yeah, switching for air, that's good. So no, Unicorn does not even want the ring anymore, and now you're going to be able to stun your Prodigy with the ability. Yep, there we go, and you're going to take that break. Going Earth. Yeah, it's already a rough spot for Unicorn. Like when you're playing Shiro Shinjo, I would say your first objective is not to take free breaks early. And use I would have kept the charges very honestly, and I would have tried to scoot the two provinces the way he did. So you go with the border rider, you just pass that, you go afterwards with the Wayfinder, you scoot another one, and you try to capitalize on that added value over time. Okay, now you have +3 fate because of the border fortress, but the border fortress is going to break. So we'll go into the next turn with a 1 fate advantage, if I'm correct, because you're done. Turn 1 you had 1 less, so your +2 from turn 2 are going to compensate for the -1 turn 1, -1 turn 2. So you have only 1 advantage. So his stronghold net him 1 fate for now. That's not very, very good. We see a Ring of Binding on the Shiro Shinjo so that it doesn't leave play. And yeah, Earth triggers and discard a talisman. Yeah, I think you have to play the Ring of Binding here, because Otherwise, you're done on break, done on boards, done on literally everything. So you're in a really bad position, but it still feels bad. This card has a huge difference with Reprieve, is that Reprieve saves your character once. But if you put the Ring on Binding on a character that has 3 fates, on a turn you're first. You're basically two fates, sorry, on a turn you're first. If your opponent doesn't void that character, the Ring of Binding has the effect of a double reprieve because it prevents the fate leaving your character twice. So it's actually much better to play it on characters that have fate rather than playing it on characters that are already naked on fate. But at the same time, on this position, I think you don't have a choice. You necessarily have to play it. Um, yeah, Phoenix plays Eugenia, 2 Fate, another against of the. Okay, another an Adept of the Waste. That's really good because it gives him the coverage for the Water Ring that is going to trigger the Prodigy. And Eugenia puts a huge pressure on the Void Ring because if you go and Void that Shono, he dies. And he also plays a Knife Student. Okay, so he keeps literally no Fate. It's likely that he goes for the Void Ring first conflict then to get the Fate out of it. And on the other side, we see a Young Warrior, so it's and a Trailblazer. Okay, Unicorn here has to play stuff to defend because if he loses the third province on the first conflict, I think it's more or less the game. So what do you do as Phoenix here? You go Void with Eugenia and the Knife Student political to force your opponent to defend as much as possible. And if it doesn't, you kill the Shinjo Shono. Okay, see Unicorn player disconnecting. I'm coming back. Finger of Jade to Shono in order to avoid the covert from Eugenia because of the Tattooed Wanderers. That's good. But then your deck can just like either covert to get rid of the finger or choose to covert someone else. Like it can cover the Young Warrior, for example. Yeah, that's likely what's gonna happen. He's going to covert someone else than Shono. You cover the Young Warrior and you can still kill the Shono or the Young Warrior. Like yeah, he's likely going to kill the Young Warrior then. Unicorn here is lucky to have had the Shono dupe because it leads exactly to what I described. Like if Shono doesn't lose that fate and is not discarded, the next turn Shono is going to have the Ring of Binding triggering a second time. But that's true only because he flipped a Shono dupe. So that was a lucky one. What province could you find as Phoenix here? There is Meditations, Pilgrimage, and Along the River. So it's going to be Pilgrimage or Meditation. I think you don't want to find Pilgrimage and not Brackets, but I think it's better than Meditations because Meditations get rid of your Prodigy, which you don't really want. This kind of all-in political says me has either clarity of purpose or against the waves. I think Unicorn does not play a captive audience, right? No, it doesn't. So you're perfectly fine playing that clarity of purpose here. Oh yeah, Yoda did trigger the conflict, but the Unicorn player is thinking whether or not he uses the Finger of Shade to defend with Shono, because Shono was the coveted character, I think. So the timer is going for the Unicorn player because he's thinking whether or not he wants to get rid of that finger. Honestly, I think he has to, because otherwise, like, you just... Oh, finger can protect him from Yuji now, right? Then I think you should have kept it. Yeah, you should have kept the finger, because then you just don't defend with Shono, and when he fights and try to kill the Shono, then you just trigger the finger and you have Shono to attack. Because like now you need to win that conflict. Eugenia is just going to... So that's meditation. We see the prodigy losing his fate. That's very good for the unicorn player. But what you're gonna see here is Eugene avoiding Shono and killing the Trailblazer. Very likely. And if unicorn player has another Finger of Jade and plays it on Shono, then he's... Yeah, it's tricky. It's a tricky one. I think Phoenix, if Phoenix breaks that province, then Phoenix is in a super good position. We are likely going to see a speak to hurt here if Unicorn has it. Okay, it's interesting that Phoenix passes, because if Unicorn passes, then Phoenix cannot play Clarity of Purpose, which kind of tells me he has an Against the Waves rather than a Clarity. Unicorn also has Against the Waves, but no Shugin just on board. So, also has Clarity, sorry, but no Shugin just on board, so it doesn't matter. It's a bit, yeah, it's a bit weird that you splash like 3 Clarity of Purpose when you have all these Shugin Jets. You could splash like 2 Against the Waves and 1 Clarity, or even 3 Against the Waves and 1 Clarity. Or Clarity of Purpose is 3 Influence, right? So it would be 3 Against the Waves, 2 Clarity of Purpose. That would probably be a more flexible splash. So we said defend your honor to avoid the storm. I guess you just choose the prodigy. He has like 7 strength. So yep, no effect for the council. So the meditation is still breaking. We see another Finger of Jade, so that's what I tell that like a little bit sooner. I think it's useless because now you just like void Shono and remove the Trailblazer from the game. So Shono leaves at end of turn and Trailblazer dies. Yeah, exactly. I know you wasted your finger. It's not a unicorn, you need to have a conflict. Oh, there's another wayfinder. Okay, that's good. So as unicorn, I think you both want to and don't want to take water because you would like to stand one of your characters. But obviously, like, if you take water, Phoenix has a free stand with the Prodigy on this next conflict, so you can't really afford that, because if you do, I think you lose the game on the Stronghold. So you have to take another ring. And if Phoenix has an Against the Waves, then you just stand the Prodigy, go covert on whatever you have left on the Stronghold, and you just lose the game there. I see no way for Unicorn to come back here with 4 cards in hand. It sounds... Well, unless you can win that Water Ring and stand Shono, then maybe you stand a chance in defense. But it's a maybe, because like there is still a Storm in the discard that can be replayed with Kyuden Izawa. So yeah, I am Rosie on the young warrior, so that makes sense. He wants to win that water ring to be able to defend the stronghold with Shono. Now we see a fish for defense. Not defending with the Adept of the Waves. Yeah, I guess you want to keep it to try to break that stronghold. And Garden gives you a fate. That's a storm on the fish. Yeah. That's good because it makes it harder for Unicorn to win that conflict. It's bad because you're not going to be able to use it on the stronghold. Um, Unicorn passes. Okay, so that's unfortunate because the speak to hurt here would have been super good. Means he has none of those. Well, he has only 3 cards, so that makes sense. I know you can just like stand the Prodigy and win on the Stronghold, I guess. I don't see what Unicorn can do. You four more cards than he has. The Stronghold has is against the River of Gold, which literally is of no use there. Like it's a value change of 0 into the conflict. Against the waves on Eugenia, so it's going to be a huge military attack with all these characters. And no, the Against the River of Gold has an effect on Eugenia, but it's going to give him +2, so I'm not sure you're going to want to play that. And if it's Pilgrimage there, then you're just fully happy to find Pilgrimage. But it's going to be Against the River of Gold necessarily. Yeah, there is no reason you don't put Pilgrimage in the row. As a Phoenix player, Prodigy against Shiro Shinjo is a really good character because it gives you really early punch that you need to defeat really quickly your opponents before you can accumulate fates. Yeah, there we see the Phoenix player win. Really quick game. I think Unicorn player tried to be too aggressive early. Like his stronghold literally netted him 1 fate over the course of the game, which is super bad for a stronghold effect. Like you just don't want to play this stronghold if you get 1 fate out of it. Well, thank you very much for watching the game. We're gonna look at another one in something like 40 minutes. Stay tuned and come back.